Welcome back to Equal Time Soccer. I'm Mark Pavratsky. We're pleased to be joined by a first-year player at Drake, a two-time Missouri Valley Freshman of the Week, and more importantly, though, an Award of Excellence recipient from Tartan High School. Welcome, Angela Gutierrez. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing? Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, so we're doing a little bit of a later evening interview, and so for context, it's a very real. You're really in the soccer bar tonight because it's not soccer right now, but it is the gay bar part of it where there's bingo going on over here, and so at some point we're gonna hear someone win bingo, and you'll get to hear the honest reaction. I don't know how loud it'll be, but I have a nice little hum of bar noise behind me, so context for where you're seeing me. But Angela, you're coming off a 2-0 win. Indiana State, how are you feeling? It's a short week. You had the win yesterday, and now you're looking at a weekend.
Yeah, no, it was really great to get that win. You know, after a tough loss away, I think that we did a really good job of not, putting our heads down, and we just came out with great, like a desire to win, and then we got the dub, so it was perfect. It seals the weekend, so I'm excited. Yeah.
So, yes, I mentioned, the standout as a first year, which is what caught my eye to get Angela on the program here. One of the things I noticed in a trend, this is just a lighthearted comment, but the one game you didn't start, Angela, was the game you guys lost at UNC. I don't know if you think there's a connection. That's not for you to say, but.
No,
They're a tough matchup, but
it was a tough match, but we'll get them back.
Well, and you're looking good. The team is doing well, and you're also playing well individually, having contributions, goals, and assists. 2 goals, 3 assists in 10 games.
Yeah.
How do you feel now in terms of your confidence and place in the team as opposed to like the first day of training?
Yeah, no, obviously massive gap there. I think, all along, coming in as a freshman, you're always intimidated. But I kind of came in knowing that I wanted to work hard, and I'm just really thankful again for Kevin and Lindsay, our coaches, who just put so much trust in me, and that really boosts my confidence, and at the end of the day, now I don't really care about the freshman kind of thing. It's just I just want to play, for me, it doesn't really matter that I'm a freshman. Every game I go into, I want to play my heart out. I want to contribute to the team's success. So, yeah.
Yeah, and did you expect to play this much? Was that something you had in conversation with the coaching staff? Because, it is rare. You do have some other first years playing a lot for you as well, but you've started almost every game. You're playing, more than half the game. So was that an expectation? Did you talk about that in recruiting?
It definitely came up, so, but like I said, I came in, knowing that I had to work for it. Obviously, Lindsay and Kevin, have high expectations for me. So, I definitely had to come in and prove to them why. Aside
from just the thing first years always say is speed of play, obviously needing to make decisions, how fast everyone reacts, and of course people are more athletic. Aside from just speed of play, could you share maybe a specific adjustment? It can be big or small, something that has challenged you or that you've found, as you've adjusted, that's why you've been able to be, proficient already in the first year?
I think I would say trying to fit in with the group. I think we have a very a older team. Most of them are older, but at first it felt I had to ease my way in, and now I think that we're just one great team together, and so that's been really helpful.
That's something I wanted to ask about was the
Yeah.
age gap, because
Yeah.
the COVID year, you could already end up with grad level students like a 5th year. COVID has made it so you end up with maybe some 6 years, and
Yeah.
like it's a
Yeah.
really big age gap. And it's funny when, whenever you watch like behind the scenes footage from teams, you notice
Yeah.
girls joking about that of like, oh, you're 24. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering for you, where does that show up most? Like, because I'm 35, and when I meet people who are in their 20s, I'll be an old patronizing guy. We're like, oh, you're young. Like, how does it show up with the older players and younger players? Is it just like the music and culture stuff you talk about and style, or is it like how does it show itself?
I mean, I guess like some of like the things that the older girls say, I'm kind of like,
Your slang
they're
is
just,
off.
yeah, they're obviously like so much more mature, and some of them, are already like thinking about like getting married, buying a
Right.
house, actually doing stuff. I'm like, I just got here, like I don't even know what I'm doing, so yeah,
Trying to pick my major over here.
yeah, yeah,
I know that is the thing. Yeah, you definitely could have. I mean, yeah, there definitely have some athletes who might be married already and doing
yeah.
whatever. So in terms of, I mean, I talked about how you've been playing a lot. You've been contributing, and especially offensively. I haven't watched your game, so that's the way I know you're contributing is you're playing minutes and you have goal contribution. But what do you feel like? How would you say describe your role on the team? And is that something that Coach Horner and your other coaches talk to you about specifically?
Yeah, no, I think, my role on the team is obviously to help the team be successful. And just really, I think our like front three, so our forwards, like us, and just trying to score goals, assist, whatever it is, but just at the end of the day, like win games. I think that this is a really solid group. I think compared to like last year, like we're really on a high right now, and
Yeah.
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 So,
Well, and where have you been playing on that front three? Where do you spend most of your time?
on the wing. So yeah.
You switch?
Yeah.
You play both sides?
Yep.
Do you like that, or do you have like a strong side you like to be able to pull in from, or cut through?
No, I really don't mind any of them. I think obviously being on the left, I can always cut into my right and shoot with my right, but they both work for me. So
Nice. That's cool. I do find it funny sometimes when players are really, really intense about playing like either right
Yeah.
back or left back, and I'm like, I mean, you got to be able to work both your feet,
Yeah.
right? Both sides of the skill.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, we're talking about your confidence. I mean, I think probably it starts pretty well when you have an assist in your first game, right? And then
Right.
you score a game-winning goal at Green Bay, like right after that. So I mean, were you in a place where you were, it's the biggest step up you've ever had to take, right? That a player could take to go to D1 and be in your first year. So were those new feelings of anxiety and like doubt that you had to really battle, and then obviously maybe they went away quickly?
Yeah, I think definitely when I first got here, lots of stress, anxiety, kind of mind everywhere, but I think it was obviously really good to have like preseason, because you have some games where I could just kind of like get a little sense of what it's like, and then obviously growing off of that, I think has really helped. So,
And just getting the start in your first game must signal a lot too. Like when
yes,
that's huge. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
When did they tell you the lineup? Did they tell you the day before? Was it the day of? Do you remember that?
It was the day of. Yeah, so the starting lineup for us usually is the day of. We'll in our
Okay.
pre-game meeting. So yeah.
Is the idea, because I think there's different philosophies on that, whether you want to have your players in this to prepare to be a sub or a starter, or but like is the philosophy really that then it keeps everyone fighting to know they potentially still have a chance? Do you think?
I'm not sure. That's kind of up to the coaches, I guess. But I think like whether you're starting or not, like we all know that we have a role on the team, and at the end of the day, I don't really think as long as we're winning games, I think that we're good.
Also, Angela's not one of us to worry that much because she starts the game, so it's
No,
not, it hasn't been.
no.
But I mean, it does help though. Like when you have a sense that your role, that's nice. Like you do have a sense you're going to play, you're going to play major minutes. That's a positive thing. So we got to get to this. I forgot even before when I was prepping with you of the ESPN of it all with that flip throw. So this was not your play, but we need on the ground response. So people who didn't see it was pretty viral, especially like soccer Twitter.
Yes.
I think broadly on ESPN, because it was in the top 10. Was it one? Was it number one?
It was number one.
It was number one, baby. So it's Zoe Mahoney, right?
Zoe Mahoney. Yeah, she's actually. Yeah, she is. She's my roommate actually. So, it was amazing. I mean, I think in that moment, I think time kind of like slowed down.
Where were you? Were you on the field?
I was on the field. I was right next to it. I think my first reaction was obviously like the keeper touched it, and I think everyone was looking around like what just happened, and you know I went straight to the ref and I was like, that's a goal. Like the goalie touched it. Don't say that wasn't a goal because the goalie touched it, and then it just it was amazing.
For people who don't see, it's real easy to Google. If you just Google Drake flip throw, like it'll come up. And Zoe has a throw from basically the sideline, right, even kind of with the 18 or so, or a little up. I watched an interview interviewing her. She's a former gymnast, and she talks about how it made it easier. And I will say, because I've seen people do it like in person, and other people do it where it's a lot more wild, and you kind of can see that she steps through that front handspring, like she steps off the flip in a way that a gymnast would be doing their wild. And so I actually was like, okay, and it's kind of high arching. It's not like a darting ball.
No.
It goes to the far post. And I only realized from the discussion of it, like it happens so rarely, of course, you can't score directly from a throw in. But the keeper, I think instinctively, I mean, you wouldn't think to just let a ball go as a keeper. So they go for the save.
Yeah.
He scores. It's wild. So Have you ever been on a team where people flip throw before?
No, never. So every time she does it, like it still amazes me. Like she's done it like 30 times, and every time she does it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, because sometimes you think, is this just for fun? Because it is fun. Why not? Because a lot of times it doesn't pay off, and she really whipped it into the right place.
No, yeah. And actually, I think many of our goals have come from that, because I think the other team is just like they don't know how to, like they've never seen it before. Like they don't really know how to defend it, and like it really comes in an advantage to us actually. So yeah.
It's about as far as people can get a throw to go. She got it to almost the actual far post, which I mean, let alone even in like a huge male senior player, they can't do any further than that. Like that's so it's pretty intense. So it's a very like Mighty Ducks 2 thing where they sign a gymnast, Zoe, like to like sneak in with your skills. So Zoe's doing like a little working her even though she can't do gymnastics in college, making it work. You guys beat Northern Iowa. You had the game-winning assist. That must be sweet. There's a ton of teams in Iowa that are D1, but they're obviously like being a conference situation.
Right.
How fun was that? And just talk about like you getting that play where it was the game-winning assist.
It was obviously a really good game for us to win. A really good 3 points. You know, they were coming off a high. I think they were on like a 6-game unbeaten streak, and you know, obviously we came out. You know, we were like, let's just forget about that. Let's just play how we play. And obviously, getting the assist felt really good. I mean, Emma Nagel, our senior forward, she like perfect. She just brought it down and just touched it. It was perfect.
Nice. When you got there, or even when you were like visiting, because there are a lot of teams, it's not like Minnesota, it's a little more direct where you're like, it's Wisconsin and Iowa, because there's the 2 and we don't have, you know, and now who did you like the other teammates and the coaching staff, like, and the culture, like who do you want to beat the most? Like who did you learn that who are the biggest rivals for you? Loyola's gone now too. They probably
you're right.
You'd want to beat them the most because they were just perennial winners.
Right. Yeah. I don't really think there was one. Obviously, UNI is like in state, so I guess like those are in-state rivals.
Hmm.
But other than that,
It wasn't extra hype from like the veteran players about you and I of like this is like we want to beat them specifically.
I think so. Yeah, I think in the huddle, obviously, we're like, this is a rival game.
Mhm.
Let's win. So, but I think with every game, it's always like that. Like we come out with
Mhm.
winning mentality. Like we don't really care about the other team's record.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. You've played a ton of the teams. I cover the D1 players like for Minnesota who play all over.
Right.
You've played probably 50 Minnesotans already because you've played St. Thomas, NDSU,
Yep.
which are both basically all Minnesotan. South
Yep.
Dakota State, South Dakota, UNI has a cluster. I'm wondering, obviously we talked about age differences, but so many potential old teammates or opponents. How many have you noticed of like they might have been on the bench, but like have you been noticing like former girls you played in high school and club?
Yeah. Many of them. Mostly obviously when we were still playing like the Summit League teams.
Yeah.
I definitely recognize a lot of them. Played with them too. So it's good to see familiar faces.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah. Makes it fun. It's funny because some players just will also be like, I don't know, I didn't really notice. And I'm like, you definitely played 50 of them because I cover there's tons of them.
Yeah.
Too hard to keep track on those summit
Yeah.
So, but 3-1 to Missouri Valley for Drake. So wins over UNI, wins over Southern Illinois and Indiana State. Tripped up just at UIC, like we said.
Right.
I'm curious for the team. They were picked fourth in the poll. It's kind of a wide open conference with Loyola leaving, who had been so dominant. I'm curious for you, like how much has the coaching staff and the team talked about like specific goals for the season? Like specifically on the field, I guess. What's the goals for the squad?
Yeah, obviously the NBC. I think that this team really has like the potential to win it. I think we've started strong, and obviously UIC was really rough for us, but we kind of all agreed that it was we came out and they played harder than us. So obviously the coaching staff is always telling us we got to move on, we got to do better. So I think for us that's huge, that we don't let things like that set us back, but we find ways to grow out of them. So
yeah. Speaking of the coaching staff, this was a pleasant surprise in my research too about your head coach Lindsay Horner. She's been there a long time. I mean, and so first of all, it's cool. We don't see enough just women head coaches too often at the time. She's been there 12 years, a really competitive program. What about? I mean, there's multiple things, but obviously the head coach is kind of a really big deal. Talk about Coach Horner and what about her made you want to go to Drake?
Yeah, I think it was, definitely with her, with like the Drake coaching staff, like it felt like it just felt right. Like it felt like I obviously coming into D1, like you want to play, and they really like kind of were like, yeah, like we obviously think you're a great player. And like we we have a spot for you, and we want it to be your spot. And so far they've come through with it. So just they were just so great during like the recruiting process. Both of them. I think that it just I don't know, like it just felt right with them. So
yeah. And the thing the reason I was kind of giddy and said I was surprised to find this is the follow-up question about your coach, which is, so she was a great player at Kansas in the 90s, a soccer player, I should say, specifically. Also, she was on the Sweet 16 basketball team for the Kansas basketball team. Is that something you knew? Like, do you guys know about her basketball chops? That surprised me.
It definitely surprised me too. I did not know that coming in, but obviously coming to a team, girls talking about it, and you're like, just it's mind blowing. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
crazy.
it was. What did you play any other sports in high school? I didn't see that anything about that in Googling.
No, no, I did track and field for my senior year for just for fun, and I don't think I'd ever do it ever again. So I'm just gonna stick to
Did
soccer.
you not even go to meets or what?
No, I did go to meets. It's just I don't know. It was
Hmm.
I just did it for fun.
Yeah, I have a very specific memory of being
Yeah,
seventh or eighth grade track and running the mile in a meet and think because I like to run. Even now, I
right,
don't run now, but I enjoy running if I've got to. And
right.
but I was thinking, I don't like doing this in a race. I don't. This isn't
Yeah,
fun. I could just run somewhere if I want
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
Shout out to the track coaches. I'm sorry, but that
Uh,
was just my philosophy on running. I'm wondering too. Does Coach Horner hop into training? It's been a little bit, but I'm guessing I don't. Does she hop in?
Um, not really, not her. She sometimes does some like shooting with the goalies, but that's
Yeah.
all I've seen. That's the only time she'll put on cleats. The one who does jump in is our other assistant coach, Kevin. He's yep,
Is he out to prove it? Is he out to prove he
yep,
still has the
yep,
chops? Yeah,
yep,
that's how it goes with coaches. Yeah, that's how it.
yep.
How long ago has it been since he? I didn't look up how many years it's been since he played. I'm sure he played in college or something, probably.
I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that.
See, Kevin. I mean, we don't even
I,
know, Kevin. Apologies, Kevin. But you've gotten a lot of love from
yeah,
Angela already. I will stop to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Pentz Homes. Pentz Homes has been a longtime sponsor of Equal Time. They contribute to us so that we're able to do on the ground coverage. They are a wonderful realty group. I live in a Pentz home property. Multiple of my friends do, and he's a wonderful customer here at the Blackheart. So if you need any help with redesigning your home space or finding a new spot, talk to Pentz Homes and their preferred lender, Angie Shearer. Go to social media at Pentz Homes or pentzhomes.com. Also, shout out Modist Brewing. It's in somewhere in the graphics now. They are our beverage partner. They are providing us with product to bring to tailgates, and then also merch that we'll be giving away and wearing. I wear a Protect Trans Life shirt that Modist made. I had no idea they had gear like that. People compliment me multiple times every time I wear it, not just at the gay bar. So very cool thing for an inclusive brewery like Modist. Appreciate your support. Back to, I want to get a little bit, we dipped into Angela a bit of like recruiting times and thinking about your path up. A little more on that I wanted to ask. So like one thing I found, you're not a big web present person, Angela. So one thing I found from 2021 in the scope of recruitment, being at a talent ID camp for the MAC. So that might have been where Drake saw you. They're not in that conference, but they might have been. They might have been close by. What do you remember about that time of high school recruitment, going to camps, hearing from coaches? What do you remember? It's not that long ago, but it started a while.
yeah. Obviously, I think showcases. I think that's where I obviously got the most attention. To be honest with you, I only ever attended one camp, and that was
Huh?
Iowa University, and that was when I was in, I want to say,
Ninth grade or
freshman
something.
year. Yeah, freshman year, and like obviously I wasn't old enough to even talk to the coaches like after. So and that was the only camp I ever
Oh yeah.
ever went to. So most of my recruiting obviously came from like showcases and
Like playing with Salvo and stuff like that. And Eclipse.
Eclipse for the most part. Eclipse. Our coach Andy Casa.
Mm-hmm.
He was really he really did help a lot in my recruiting process. He had a lot of connections and was able to connect me with different coaches, different colleges, and just make my recruiting process so easy. Obviously, like it got stressful after a while, but I think he always kept it as like stress free as possible. So very thankful for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, he has a quote that, Angela, I think you should probably print out and you can have it somewhere for if you're ever down or like thinking you're not a good player. It's probably about the best player or best quote you could get. He said, Angela is without a doubt the most fun player to watch I've ever coached. Pretty high. That's about as good a
Yeah.
praise as you can get. What do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think made him say that? You just winning him some trophies or what?
No, we I think uh he was just the coach that just had um I really did learn a lot from him. I think, I owe a lot of, my soccer career to him because he was also somebody that put a lot of trust in me that just helped me build my confidence.
Uh huh.
I was playing full games every game
Yeah.
for him, and um, he kind of made me like kind of like the structure of the team. So I was,
Hmm?
but just him putting so much confidence and trust in me really helped. Um, I think with the type of player I am today. So
Very cool.
yeah,
Shout out to coaches making a difference. Way to go,
yeah,
Coach
yeah,
Casa. Yeah,
yeah,
that's no surprise they pulled that quote in like the announcement of recruiting you. So I'm like, well,
yeah,
yeah, it makes
yeah,
it sound like a player I want to watch.
yeah,
When you were in club and high school, because you did play high school at least some of the time, right? Did you play one
yeah.
of the?
For
Yeah,
4 years, yeah,
yeah, you did. So you played, yeah. So
yeah.
what were the teams like between both club and high school? What are the teams you remember most wanting to beat?
I remember starting with Eclipse. I think MTA was always our biggest rival.
Of course. The big
Uh,
shiny ones, Angela. The big
yeah,
shiny
yeah. Obviously MTA. I'd say St. Croix.
team.
Tonka Fusion was also another one.
Yeah. Mhm.
So just those teams.
In high
Yeah.
school, was it like Woodbury and stuff, and like Eastridge, or like who was it over there?
For high school,
Stillwater.
we, I don't think, not to speak bad on Torrance girls soccer, but, I don't, I don't think
You weren't beating the big teams. You're saying?
we were not beating the big teams. I think our biggest rival was North St. Paul,
Yeah.
and they were also not a very good team. So
That's cool. It's cool you got to play high school though, in terms of just
yeah,
playing with your friends
oh
you're in high school with.
yeah,
Because it is. I mean, plenty of the players still do, but some players don't. I mean, it's just a big demand on you to do it all.
right,
I
yeah.
totally get that. If you weren't at Drake, I know this is recent. Where would you be? What you can just say that, or what other teams would you considered, or were you talking to?
Uh, Most of them, like I've said before, I think most of just like the Summit League. I got a lot of offers from the Summit League,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really considering it there. So like South Dakota State and then University of South Dakota
Yeah.
were like the other two big ones actually. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think if I was not at Drake, I would probably at South Dakota State.
Well, not a bad place to be too. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you guys can meet maybe in the NCAA tournament this year. We'll see.
we'll
Um,
see.
yeah. Did you? I never asked this. I guess too often, like specifically to players, but like you play with a lot of girls all through. Like at Eclipse, you're with them a while. You're with girls in high school. Like you were saying, maybe fewer of your high school teammates were going D1. How much are you weighing? Like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to play with some of the players I like to play with, or my friend. Like, was that a thing you considered, or was it really just this is hard enough as it is? I have to find a place that's good for me.
I will say at first, I think I wanted to kind of play with people I knew, um, but then I was kind of like, I got to do what's best for me.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, I think as soon as I got here to Drake, I was like, this is it. Like I think this has to be it. And so far, it's been going really well. So
Yeah, clearly, yeah, can't argue
yeah,
with the results.
yeah,
I talked to us a bit before. I might have mentioned them, but Drake has been a team that always seems to have a couple of Minnesotans at least the last few years. You
yeah,
have two other impact players, like all three of you play a lot. Brooke Davies from Shakopee, Delaney
yep,
Wilson is one of those super seniors.
yeah,
Where he'd be like, she's probably telling you about weather events you don't remember, so because she's
yeah,
5 years older, 4 years older. But talk about their roles in the squad. Like I said, they play a lot, but talk about their roles in the team. And is that been something that helped you, that you had, some like familiar or people to commiserate about the state fair with or something like that?
Yeah, coming here, I knew Delaney. We played for the same club. I was like 12 and she was on the oldest team, so that's
She's
where I
roasting
remember.
Delaney.
Yeah.
Roasting.
Yeah, that's where I knew Delaney from. And then obviously Brooke, I didn't know her coming here, but she's someone that, both of them are players that I look up to. They definitely set the tone for our team, and are great leaders, and are impactful on and off the field. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You also have, it's been fun to watch because it's always something easy for me to see, like, wow, yeah, they're really like making an impact. You also have a lot of other first years making impacts. It's a lot of first years on the team, and plenty are playing, like at your keeper, forward, your defenders, midfielders, forwards playing. What does that say like about the team? Were you surprised at how many first years are getting a lot of minutes, and is it just like a sign of the chemistry and like open culture that you have at with the squad?
No, I wouldn't say I'm surprised that, I think that, we like our freshman class is a really good, we have really good players. And obviously at the end of the day, it's up to the coaches who plays and who doesn't play. But, I think that, our freshman class um, is doing well. Some of them obviously only get a few minutes, and I guess sometimes it's just like the freshman thing. Like coming in, you might not get as many minutes, but the freshmen who have been playing, they've been impactful. I mean, Addie Ford, really good goalkeeper, and obviously Zoe, great defender. So.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm sure it helps you feel confident like that too. I mean, just like you're getting a chance, like you have a chance if you perform. They seem to let players play, which is cool. That's something that is nice to feel as a player. Excuse me. But so you play at Drake Stadium, like the football stadium. You're moving into a new one that's going to be shared with Des Moines Public Schools. You've played a lot at home, so you've really kind of just played at home and a couple away games. But so I want to include like both your club experience and like high school. What are the favorite fields and like stadiums you've ever played on, or whether it be because it was a really impactful game and maybe that's why you remember it, or it's like it was just a really nice soccer stadium or field?
With club, I think the Surf Cup fields. That was a good tournament.
Where's
really
that?
nice fields. That's in California.
Uh-huh.
So California and Florida has really nice fields. I've always said that grass fields are better than turf, but it has to be like a really nice grass field.
Yeah. No, a bad grass field is worse than a turf. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
if the grass is super long, it plays bad like turf does, and you're also like your cleats don't work right. So yeah, I remember teams being strategic about that. If they played that way, they would let it be long, and you're like, God, this stupid grass, and like running. Yeah. Well, you'll get to see a few more this year too. So we'll see in terms of getting to see some of those. Too bad Loyola Chicago had a cool kind of urban, I think, stadium. Yeah. Right. That has like kind of a train or something. That would be cool to see. So you're in Des Moines. Des Moines, I've been through a couple of times. But obviously, like for people who haven't been to Iowa, I'm in Des Moines. What's kind of an anecdote you would share to be like, no, Des Moines is cool, I'm enjoying it, aside from like soccer or whatever? What's been like a nice, pleasant surprise, or just something you found you like about it? With your limited free time so far, this weekend is your first maybe chance.
Right. Obviously, I really haven't had the chance, with soccer in school, to just go downtown and explore. But we've been to a couple of nice restaurants down there. Mm-hmm. So I'd say the food isn't too bad, and it's not compared to like Minneapolis. Like they're about like the same, so
Yeah. It's a nice little city. There's more. I think
Yeah.
there's more to the downtown is small, but like it is a really nice walkable downtown. And there's
right.
like
Yeah.
river. It's a cool, and it's close. So I'm sure your parents or family, whoever want to come watch you. That's been good for them. If they
Yeah. No. Yeah. One thing for them was, they wanted me to stay a little bit close to home.
Of course.
Just because, they're able to come to, weekend games, or, if I ever need to go home, it's not too far. So that's actually been good.
3 hours is a really good. I think I was
Yeah.
3 hours. That's a good amount because it's not.
Yeah.
Gonna be, you can't just run home.
Right.
And you're so busy, it doesn't matter anyway. But maybe in the winter you'd be more tempted, and
Yeah.
And then I already asked you if you didn't play soccer in college. I mean, you said track isn't even a passion. So I got to ask, aside from those, if you weren't playing soccer, what sport would it be that you would be playing? Or that you want to be, even if you can't play it?
Yeah, I have always said hockey. Obviously, being from Minnesota, I went to a couple hockey games. They were just really fun to watch. And I think, just being on the ice, it just looks so cool to me. So,
did you ever play even just goofing around for fun?
Just goofing around, but I cannot ice skate to save my life. So
well,
let's
look, Angela, there's a bit of a foundation of that. I have to bring it to the bar. I served someone a Bloody Mary the other day, and they're like, "It's very tomatoey." I was like, "That's like absolutely it is. Skating is very important." What's the favorite goal you've ever scored? You've scored a decent amount, it seems like, but what stands out? It could be a couple.
Just like my whole career.
I mean, you have too many to think of, but you pick.
Once playing for start of Eclipse, I did score a bicycle kick, and I was like 14, so I will always remember that one.
No one can ever take that from you.
Yeah,
that is crazy. Where did it come from? Like, where were you in the box, or where were you at?
I was in the box. I think the person who crossed it was Paige from U of M. She's also a freshman, doing really well.
Kalau?
Yeah. Yep. She crossed it in. It was the perfect cross, and I was like, if I'm ever gonna score a bicycle kick, it's gonna be right now. It's a perfect ball, and yeah.
Do you remember how you reacted? Because I've been surprised watching more college and youth soccer how much they let kids celebrate. No one ever celebrated when I was growing up. Like, that was like a ref would have like immediately.
Right.
Did you get to celebrate, or did you? Do you remember?
I didn't really celebrate it too much because I was kind of like in shock. I was like, no way, I just did this. Like it works. But I think after the game, I was like, wow, like that was crazy. Like I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life.
That's what you tell you. That's what you'd be telling youngins when you're the fifth year. You'd be like, I scored a bicycle kick goal when you were just and then you wouldn't even remember it. Who is your favorite? Do you have a favorite soccer player?
Yeah. Growing up, I really liked watching Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid. That Real Madrid is my team. That is a team that I watch every game that they have.
Every game that they have. Where'd that come from? Where'd the Madrid come from?
My dad.
Okay.
My dad. Yeah, I think like growing up, like that was what was on the TV, and I love watching soccer in general. But definitely love watching them. So.
Well, those were prime years. You were watching the Galacticos, like when it was like when they were winning, and then it was them when Barca, like when you were a kid, it was the prime Barcelona.
Yep.
That's really sick. Yeah, that's cool. Did your dad play too? Was he someone who like got you into playing?
He played Sunday league, so I don't know if you really consider that playing.
Well, roasted, Mr. Gutierrez. You roasted by your daughter. I mean, that's all I meant. Yeah, to get you into the game. This is the last question before we promote the upcoming games for you guys. Look, and this is outside of soccer, but it is in the sports world. This is the first time I've been talking to like a Gen Zer after this occurred. Thoughts on Taylor Swift at the Kelsey game, Angela? Did that break through in the team? Is that something that college soccer players care about? Because adults
Um,
really care.
I think it's something. I think it's something that every college player definitely cares about. I think right now it's the topic. Um,
I mean,
Personally, I ship it. I don't know. I like the two together. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know how it happened, but it's
it
one of
seems
those
kind of
like
genuine, right? It almost seems
yeah,
like it's like an organic thing. Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
Well, it has nothing to do with you having hopes of, being in the NWSL in 5 years,
Right,
and then,
right.
who would the person be? Travis Kelsey made this so, by the way, by saying he went to her concert and like
Right.
did something like his number or something. So we can initiate it now. You can pass if you want, but when you're in the NWSL and they're making money and you're a star and you're playing with like Trinity Rodman, who's the guy that needs to be in the box, or who's the person who needs to be in the box for you?
Oh, I don't know. I have not thought about that, but
You don't want to
Travis
risk
Kelsey, someone like Travis Kelsey would be nice. Um,
Taylor. She's coming for you.
yeah, I wouldn't say that, but
Someone like Travis. Travis is probably a
yeah,
little old. Someone like
right,
Travis. We'll see
right,
who it
right.
is in a couple of
Yeah,
years.
yep,
Exactly. Get a quarterback. The money they got the. They have the money.
yeah,
No, but it would be. But see, you're in this situation. You're the athlete, and you're getting like a musician star or like Timothy Chalamet.
yeah,
You know what I
yep,
mean?
yep,
Sounds like that would be an okay one.
yep.
Awesome. Angela, this has been so fun. We want to pump up Drake's upcoming games. One of the nice things about Drake, college soccer is getting a little more fragmented in how easy it is to watch, but a lot of the games are, or at least plenty of them, are on ESPN Plus,
Yeah.
where there's so many college soccer games along with other pro soccer stuff. I don't get anything for this, but it's a very useful thing to have. I dip in on a lot of little college games. They play Missouri State this Thursday, and then the ESPN Plus game is on next Sunday, hosting Valparaiso. That one's on ESPN Plus at 1 p.m. We'll promote that. But yeah, and thank you to all our Patreons as well. You help make it possible. When you see Matt driving to Drake to interview Angela at a game, that's because we've got Patreon supporting us. So thank you to all the parents. My parents too, I guess. Angela, thank you much for joining.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll be watching.
All right. Thank you. Bye.